When you talk about cutting off the head of the snake, something else we found, I don't know if you saw this where you worked, but sometimes when you do that and you get that head of the snake, the people below learn and then become even stronger because of what they learned from that person. And maybe they were waiting for that person to either step aside or be killed in order to rise up. And now that organization as a whole can become stronger. Sometimes it can fragment, but sometimes it can also become stronger. And so that natural selection by taking out that leader, we found sometimes made the organization even stronger because they learned from that. And then they adapted. And now we have to now learn and adapt again and figure that out. So we came up with this thing. I shouldn't say we, people came up with this thing in the intelligence services called crosscut targeting, where they'd start to take out the middle of an organization. So cutting off that between the lower level and the top level to gut it, essentially, to see it wither on the vine. But did you see that ever taking out the leadership in any organization getting stronger because of that?
I mean, Americans were the number one group of people that were guilty of cutting up the head of the snake, because a lot of the stuff that happens in Mexico in one way, shape, or form is influenced and or pushed by U.S. interest and basically foreign policy. So El Chapo Guzman is an example of this. You caught El Chapo Guzman and you had him on the same tier as Osama bin Laden as far as a threat. Basically, realistically, El Chapo Guzman was not even number two, number three in the scheme of things. But you take him out, and now his three sons are. So now it's from one. Now you see three, and the three sons are not El Chapo Guzman as far as his life experience goes. They were more flashy, more prone to violence. Different. It's just a different animal. Then if you go into a macro level, you see the Sinaloa cartel versus the new generation cartel that is now operating. In the past, you had people who were about the life, who were more prone to act like the Chicago mob or the New York mob of the time, where they don't shit where they eat. Exactly. Pardon my French. They keep things on the down low in the area. They work, but outside of it, they keep people happy. They don't mess with locals, that type of stuff. The U.S. and Mexico killed all those people mostly, or arrested them. And now the ones that are left are the ultra militaristic individuals who are acting more so like an occupying force of the territories that they inhabit instead of the old timey mob situation.
Wow.
New generation cartel, for example, if you've seen some of their videos and some of the stuff they do, I mean, these guys are setting up terrorist training camps of like this types you would see for that were portrayed for Al Qaeda back in the. So these guys are being trained up in the hills by former U.S. military members.
Oh, really?
According to some people, yes.
Ooh, I gotta take some notes for a future book here.
There's training camps around Michoacan and Jalisco, supposedly, and there's a lot of reports of this, where former members of the U.S. military have been training some of these. There's no other way of calling them guerrilla forces. That's what they are. They're not the typical cartel small groups that will go and do stuff. These are legit occupying and guerrilla forces. There's also cross-pollination of South American, Colombian SF, and some of the Cartel groups coming out of South America. They're also cross-trading with some of these people.
What's Cartel?
And Cartel is a special forces unit from Central America.
Okay.
Very known for massacring a few hundred, maybe 1,000 people in the wars that they were a part of. And now you're actually seeing some IRA influenced explosive artisanal devices showing up in many parts of Mexico, including some IEDs and some homemade mortar systems. On top of the fact that drones are seeing an amazing technological leaps and bounds here. Before even the Ukrainian war happened, they were using them in places like Michoacan to drop 40 millimeter grenades and or mining explosives combined with chemicals you use for pesticides. These were being dropped on cartel positions by some of these new generation cartel forces.
Wow.
So the talk of, what happens when you cut the head off.
Yeah.
Um, when you cut the head, so it's basically what monster are you is going to replace this monster?
Mm.
And what we've been seeing now is that the lessons, as you say, that they learned, the flashy Sinaloa cartel guys wearing the hats and being about that life, having social media, having trips to Paris and showing a video of them riding in a Lamborghini somewhere and making fun of the government and being Robin Hoods. That shit's over.
Wow.
This is an ultra paramilitary, ultra violent takeover cartel. Go into a town, gather all the military aged kids in the middle of the town square, and give them this classic offer.
There it is. Yep. Yep. So is it silver or lead?
Yeah. Yeah.